Hello guys, and today we continue our striking lessons of the Russian geography, and all because of the successful precise ATACMS strikes on the military air base in Kursk. And also inexpensive Ukrainian drones paid a very expensive visit to the Russian military plant in Kaluga. The plant was responsible for the production of various radio location elements for the Russian missiles and Russian air defense systems. We know they have serious problems with that, enough only for Putin bunkers, and now they will have more problems. And it seems like Russian traditional bullying and blackmail stops working because we have rumors that European leaders discuss the possibility of EU troops coming to Ukraine. Honestly, I don't think it's something that may happen in the coming months, but the very fact they are not afraid of talking about this, observing North Korean troops at the borders of Ukraine, is a signal we are stronger than Russians hope. So let's discuss these important steps to the total defeat and demilitarization of the evil empire from the ordinary Ukrainian perspective. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the collapse of the Kremlin, and if you want to protect yourself against evil Russian narratives that actually cause problems and chaos in your societies too, subscribe. We will discuss all of that on the channel. So let's start with this visit of Ukrainian drones that happened tonight in Kaluga. There they have a big military plant that has a name Typhoon, and it is responsible for the production of various elements needed for Russian weapons. It is a part of the military industrial complex. It's a very big and important plant, and it produces different elements that are necessary for the radio location elements, both in missiles, now they use various trackers for the locations, also in the air defense systems. And actually the explosions and destructions definitely cause problems for the already desperate Russian air defense. Those of you who see how war has returned back to Russia, and despite the fact Putin tries to hide it, he never mentions that in the speeches, we clearly understand that many Russian regions are a real war zone. And all because both the dictator and his population so desperately wanted war. So now they can actually taste it, taste their own medicine. And they need air defense in 10, 12, 15 Russian regions, but perhaps the most protected parts of the Russian Federation are tiny, deep Putin's bunkers. And with the destruction of such plants, with the paralysis for the production of these elements, definitely Russia will become more and more dependent on such crazy regimes as North Korea. Hopefully sanctions will demotivate China from backing them up, and we will see serious troubles in the coming months. Most importantly, the permission to use mid-range, long-range missiles not only frightened Putin, but also led to the neutralization of a number of evil, legitimate military objects. And now we have more information and more satellite images of the ATACMS strike on the Kursk Tactical Military Air Base. Subscribe to see more of the Russian military objects destroyed on our way to demilitarize this aggressor and to defeat, because unpunished evil grows, and all the other countries that cause troubles in their regions must learn a lesson. And a lesson was learned on that military air base in Kursk that is responsible for the front lines in Kursk. Yes, now front lines are also in Russia. And actually, I think I will share on the community tab a very good project that illustrates Russian gains, which turn out to be really tiny in 2024, and huge Russian losses. But we also have to keep in mind that much of Russian territory is under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces. But of course, we are ready to exchange it for our 1991 borders, because all we want is our territory, our freedom and independence, and Putin in prison. And not just Putin, but all the gang. And in Kursk military air base, there are aircraft locations and there are stores of various missiles and explosives that they actually use for the bombers. And definitely these storages were destroyed, potentially the aircraft too. In a couple of days we will have more satellite images and hopefully more ATACMS. I hope you understand what I mean. Honestly, I think that with each day more and more sane people, including, fortunately, our leaders, start to understand that Russia is a global threat. It actually inspires lots of problems and protests and disrespect in different corners of the world across the ocean too, including, I think it is responsible for a very sharp polarization of the United States, for example. They definitely interfere in elections in Georgia, Moldova, maybe even Romania. I don't know, have you heard about the accident with the Lithuanian plane? And it's a cargo plane, and there were rumors that Russians may use such as a special operation. I don't claim it's true, but with Russia, everything is possible, and not just everything worse is possible until it is defeated. And I'm happy to read Le Monde that actually says that not only President Macron, who started with this hypothesis in February and was not supported, but also the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, spoke about the potential deployment of the European soldiers, EU soldiers or UK soldiers to Ukraine. Honestly, I don't think it's likely. Let me know in the comments below what is your opinion. Are you afraid of this decision? Is it likely? If I would speak as just like an ordinary civilian, a person without this advanced Googling and reading skills, I'd say, well, this is very just. Taking into account that Russia, which has really a lot of people in the army, is now backed up by North Korean soldiers and more are supposed to come, it's quite logical that Ukrainian army of a smaller country should be supported by the willing countries and their professional military men. Maybe not for the combat positions, but for logistics, training, maintenance, or the control of the borders, let's say in my semi-safe region. I'd be happy to film the soldiers in the videos. But as a person that follows that decision-making process, I realize it's not likely to happen. Some say that if Putin is appeased and we have some negotiations and the conflict is frozen, which is not what Ukrainians will ever accept, but just hypothetically, these soldiers can come to control this demilitarized zone. And here I tell you, not only Ukrainians will deny this frozen conflict, but Putin will never accept NATO soldiers coming close to his borders. And our task is to defeat and maybe, I don't know, like enter that borders, because Russia is responsible for lots of problems. Supplying Houthis, helping Iran, helping North Korea. That's insane how alert we have to be. And sometimes, once again, with this Ukrainian experience, I'm very surprised that many smart people still don't notice that. And our task is to fight against Russian propaganda. So please share these videos on your social media platforms and make Ukrainian voices and pro-Ukrainian voices stronger. We do need that. And unfortunately, social media has some power. And I was happy to see that Ukrainian world boxing champion Volodymyr Klitschko, who is super cool. He is brave, he's clever, he speaks many languages, addressed Joe Rogan. Honestly, I did not follow his podcast much because I care about my psychological well-being, but he is very negative towards Ukraine and demonstrates lots of disrespect, repeating some of Russian propaganda messages. And Volodymyr Klitschko actually disagrees, and if Joe Rogan is brave enough, maybe he will invite Klitschko. If you are on Twitter, do support this cause, do help spread Volodymyr Klitschko's message. His brother, by the way, is the mayor of Kyiv. Honestly, I think that would be a knockout for Joe Rogan. So do help us spread the message if it's not difficult for you. Join me on Instagram, X, Threads, Discord, and I'm very active on Blue Sky. You will find the links in the description of this video, and we have a good merch shop with lots of items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!